Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coast Files, your podcast for ocean mysteries and true crime. I'm Chantel.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm Megan. I almost said I'm Lindsay.
Always trying to steal my identity.
I wish I was like, I'm Megan. I'm Megan. I'm Megan. You say I'm Lindsay. I'm like, I'm Megan. Wow.
Megan has always had a lot of trouble with these intros.
Yeah.
It's been fun getting them down packed.
I feel like one day we'll get there.
One day.
Something good to look forward to.
Yeah.
One day.
The
You have to have
day
goals,
Megan gets it right.
You have to have goals.
Put that on our little board of goals.
I'm going to add that to our milestone chart immediately.
Perfect.
Says name correctly first time.
If you're perfect the first day, there's nothing to move towards. So
there you go.
There's only down from there. So
exactly.
I
You
would
can
like
only
to
go up.
peak first, at least once. Peak once.
peak once in my life. Come on.
To be fair, Megan's good at pretty much everything else she does. So
Now
we know
that
she's
name,
human.
man. Just that saying my name out loud. Rough.
Yeah.
It's new to her. Her name's not Megan. It never was.
I mean, originally I was going to be called Sarah, and I feel like either way, that's a very like 80s,
You're not
90s.
a Sarah.
Yeah. I was almost Jessica, so Sarah and Jessica.
Aw.
And then you could have been Parker, Chantel.
Oh, there we go.
Oh.
All right, let's call our moms.
And we'd have to walk down the high school hallway in order, otherwise it wouldn't make sense.
Oh yeah, of course.
Sarah,
Exactly.
Jessica, Parker. I love it.
Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, well, let's get into things today. I'm going to be, this is a little bit different for us. We're going to be mythology, more so centered today of mermaids.
I love this shit.
Oh yeah, it's been, I went down rabbit holes. I'm going to be talking for probably too long. This is about mermaids and sirens. And
sorry, I'm so excited.
Yay!
This is like your jam. This is like your Olympic sport.
And even like, sorry, my nose is like dripping today, so I'm gonna be wiping every once in a while.
You know what? Again, we're human beings. I don't know what you guys want from us.
You know how in stores and stuff, there's mermaids have really taken off in the last, I don't know, 5 years or so, but I just want everyone to know that Chantel did it first.
Oh,
she
yeah.
was our original.
But I was so happy actually when it became like more of a thing again, because I was like, now I can get all this stuff. Like it's readily available.
This is what I cannot stand. So I feel the same way about zombies. I mean, zombies have been around since like, well, a very long time, but they were popularized in the 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Then they kind of like came back in like mid 90s. Resident Evil obviously was a huge one. And I remember just like really being into zombies, thinking they're so scary and so cool. And then some people would, oh, well, I like zombies before, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why do you want to gatekeep a cool thing? The more people love it, the more stuff there is. Like now it's very oversaturated. Like there's almost too many zombie things out there. But I'm just like, same with mermaids or with whatever you're into. If you like owls, remember how owls blew up in like the 2010s? Yes. If your favorite thing is popular, just like embrace it. That's a good thing.
Everyone from our generation had that owl necklace, I swear.
The long one.
Yeah, that long owl necklace.
Yeah, I remember that one. I did not have that, but
I wanted it. I didn't have it.
I mean, I didn't have it too, but I
still like it. I like owls. They're very cool.
Everyone's fond of owls.
I remember my sister-in-law said once, she was like, I told somebody one time that she liked owls. She's like, I'll never do that again, because all of a sudden she got like everything owls. Like people were just like sending her plates and like anything they found with owls.
Like, you guys don't know what my thing is, because I don't want all that stuff.
When I first met my stepmom, I think I was young. Maybe I was like 5 or 6, and we go to her apartment at the time. And I'm looking around and I'm like, there's just a lot of cows, like dairy cows everywhere, like tea towels, notepads, magnets. And I'm looking around and I'm like, you must love cows. And, Erin's just like, yeah. Later we find out it's because she said, oh, that cow thing is cute. And I guess her parents told everyone, and then all she would get for years. And she's like in her mid-20s getting all this cow shit. Cow shit. Anyway.
And definitely not literal cow shit.
Literal cow shit.
Okay, I have one more of these stories before you start.
Okay, go ahead. I want to hear it.
So when I was little, one of my favorite candies was Smarties. So for Americans listening, Smarties in Canada are different than Smarties in the US.
Yeah,
Smarties in
ours
the
are
US
better.
are rockets in
I know.
Canada, little candies. But in Canada, they're basically more like M&Ms. So they're candy-coated chocolate candies. Anyway, so my parents told my grandparents that I liked Smarties. And they quickly became the go-to for anyone giving me a gift with Smarties. My grandparents gifted me a 3-pound bag of Smarties once.
Well, that's a
They
lot.
gave every birthday I'm getting Smarties. I got a Smarties pencil case, like anything Smarties, they were about it. And they actually
Smarties made all that stuff. Like,
yeah, they killed my love of Smarties.
Oh
no. I'm like, I just don't want Smarties anymore. Like, I mean, I would eat them today a little bit, but like probably.
Listen, hot take though. I would choose M&Ms over Smarties. If
M&Ms do taste better. Yes, the chocolate inside is a little bit better.
Do you guys remember we went to the Smarties store in Times Square?
Yes,
the M&M store. You mean
the what?
The M&M store.
See, now I have
Smarties. We're in the States.
That's so weird. We got M&Ms at the Smarties store. So the M&M store, I just remember, they have all the fun, like different little flavors, like the whatever crunchy on the inside or whatever. But I'm like a color person. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't know it by all the black that I wear, but I love colors so much. I remember just getting all the different like colors. I know they taste the same. Okay, I understand, but visually eating like a teal candy is just really fun.
Oh, I love the teal ones. They're so beautiful.
Well, I mean, we
actually
gorgeous.
M&M's does custom M&Ms.
Yes.
So, when we make our like, I don't know, 100th episode or something, we have to do custom M&Ms.
Or like
M&Ms.
our 10th, which is the
sponsor
2 episodes.
It, go for it.
Hi, Mr. M&M. We would love to partner with you to have custom M&Ms made for us.
Adding M&Ms to our future potential sponsor list.
Okay, so we got McDonald's, we got M&Ms.
We are really killing it. We
haven't
secured any of these.
Can we get like a health clinic to also sponsor us just to balance things out? Holy crap.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get my work, which I won't say what it is, to sponsor us, because that would be great, actually.
Just because what if our other sponsor is our sponsor is like Red Bull? It's like we need some doctors to just keep an eye on us.
We need our hearts checked on the regular, monthly.
I'm
not sure how we got to candy from mermaids, but Chantel,
here we are.
Back to mermaids.
All right, we are.
Welcome to our M&M podcast.
Oh my god, I would totally listen to an M&M podcast.
Which M&M?
No, all of them. It would be like this, but we'd all be like M&Ms listening or talking.
Well, I was also thinking like Eminem the rapper.
Oh my god, he could be a great guest.
Yes,
he could be a great guest.
Our vision board is huge.
Yeah, I know.
It's a room. It's not a board. Okay, back to it here. So mermaids and sirens, they are 2 words that are either used interchangeably or 2 words that can cause a large argument in the comment section. And I'll get into why. So the picture that you're looking at here is from Homer's The Odyssey, where sirens were mentioned. It was written during the 7th and 6th century BCE.
That's hot.
I know. Odysseus and his men were returning from the Trojan War, and they had a 10-year battle along the way home. One of the locations that they had to pass through was an area that was known to be full of sirens. They would lure sailors into the rocks and that they sung from, and they would obviously hit the rocks and they would die. Odysseus, as they were going through, commanded his sailors to fill their ears with beeswax so that they could not hear the song. But he was, of course, curious, and he was like, I want to hear the song though, but I don't want to go there. So tie me to the mast, which is
like, what if like it slaps and you just need to like have a little listen and be like,
he's so curious.
Yeah. So yeah, he had them tie it to so he could still hear it, but obviously he couldn't like fall off the edge of the boat or anything like that.
He's trying to right now.
He's really
he's really interested. He's like, "What's this jam?"
Like, guys, this is what happens. This is what happens when you're at like the table and you have a drink, but like your song comes on and you're like drawn to the dance floor.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he's trying to do.
So he was able to obviously evade death, and so was his whole crew. And they continued on their 10-year journey. Later, it was written that if you heard the sirens song and they were not able to lure you, the sirens would actually die. So
Aw.
maybe
How come someone has to die? Can't you just like?
because
what if
it's
someone heard
mythology.
about
Everybody died.
Wait, in this situation, does everyone live then because he's tied up? So he heard it,
Yeah.
so they don't die.
Yes.
And then the guys don't. Perfect.
So in this story, they didn't. It was later versions that they did end up that the sirens.
By the way,
would
can
die.
you sing the siren song right now?
No, that's a trick. Don't.
Okay.
So many use the Odyssey as a way of defending this whole bird versus fish argument when it comes to sirens. But actually, in the original version, Homer didn't say what sirens looked like. He had no description of them whatsoever. It was until the 3rd century BCE where they started being told as sirens with wings by Apollonius of Rhodes. And then in the medieval times, they switched to mermaids that we think of with fishtails. So it also depends too on whether or not you're looking at Greek versus Roman versions, the Odysseus versus Ulysses stories, which are pretty much the same, just a little bit different. Ulysses wanted to go on an adventure, and Odysseus is like, no, I want to go home. So but they pretty much come into the contact with the same things.
Mm-hmm.
So because of this, sometimes sirens are referred to as more of a category. So they are a creature that lure beings through song and deception.
Okay, so it's kind of like the umbrella.
Yes.
Is siren.
Yes. Okay. Most people, when they think of mermaids, they think of a benevolent creature who is just likes human folk, very curious, and has
likes to collect things and has a pet fish.
Yes.
And a crab that's Jamaican.
And they have beautiful voices.
And luscious hair.
Beautiful red
and a
hair.
desire to be where the people are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. But most people, when they think of sirens, they're more so malevolent, ugly shapeshifters. They also have beautiful voices, but they also sometimes imitate children and people that are drowning to lure people to their death. So, as we were just talking about, let's get into a little bit about The Little Mermaid, because I was obsessed with this as a child.
And again, you have that Danish connection.
Yes, which we'll also talk about.
Oh.
So Little Mermaid, I remember getting our first copy. It was this old video store that was closing down because, Blockbuster took over. They were selling all their movies that they had, and we got the version of a mermaid, but without the actual case on it. It's literally in this old black video case that you used to get.
So you didn't have the white plastic clamshell?
No, I had
You know what? Listen, at some point those all go missing, especially the paper ones. So you're fine.
I have all of mine.
Ooh,
okay.
Lindsay's a millionaire.
Mint condition.
If you bought those on eBay, you could retire right now.
I think I was just such a gentle child. I opened them so carefully.
I can see you as a gentle. I was dirty in the mud, always falling, full of scrapes and bruises. I was not.
I definitely injured myself, but yeah, with books and movies, very gentle.
Yeah.
I think I was also gentle. I remember getting stickers. I loved having a sticker book, and I would wait months to actually stick them because I was like,
Me
but
too.
what if but then if I stick it, then I can only stick it one time, and I would just overthink.
Know.
Yeah, I
still have. My mom found stickers from my childhood. She's like, you never stuck these anywhere.
My nephew, he's obsessed with stickers, and we got him stickers at Christmas time, and he literally just takes the page and takes off each sticker and just pastes it on a piece of paper. And I'm like, I would love to live life with this reckless abandon that you do.
Yeah, that is not me as a child. I had to get sticker books where you could restick them a little bit. Mm-hmm. Those were a little bit more my level. It was less commitment. I could handle it. That's why I don't have tattoos.
And then at one point he used me as the sticker book, and it was just all over my face, all over my shirt, everywhere.
Okay.
It was
I need to get on the phone with him.
It was auntie duty. It definitely had some pimples the next day, but worth it.
Probably because little kids are always just covered in jam. It's but we didn't have any
Why
jam.
are you sticky?
They're always just covered in jam.
Okay, anyways, so yes, I was obsessed. I had Little Mermaid Barbies, I had other Little Mermaid toys, I had a bright pink mermaid wallet, I had mermaid sheets, like I had everything. But
Disney knows how to do merch, just
they
like
they do.
they know what they're
Yeah.
doing. They're so good
um
at it.
but Disney's version of The Little Mermaid is only loosely based on the original Hans Christian Andersen story. Do you guys actually know that one very well? I am going to talk about it, but
I don't want to ruin it. I know that it does not end well, as almost every fairy tale
Mhm.
is like, how can we cause mass destruction? That's how
Yeah.
every fairy tale ends. I
Yeah, I
know.
just know it's darker.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I don't want to
The
ruin the
Disney
ending,
version.
but let's just say she turns into something where it's not good, and there's no.
Okay, I'll get into it. I'm
Okay,
gonna go
okay.
through it all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
tell
so you
us.
can go to the next photo. We're gonna go back to Denmark, but a little less murdery this time, sort of.
Oh
Um,
my god, that's right. We were just
so
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the photo of the Copenhagen mermaid, which is very famous. It was a gift from
It's so cute.
Carl Jacobsen,
Mhm.
who is the son of the founder of Carlsberg Beer, actually. And it was
Neato.
created by an artist named Edvard Eriksson and unveiled in 1913. Two women
1913? Sorry,
yeah.
I did not know it was that old.
Yeah. So, two
Yeah.
women actually posed for this. One was a ballerina slash model, but she didn't want to get nude, so just her face was based on it, and then
And
the
I was the
body
other one.
you were born a long time ago, and you look great.
Yeah, and
Um,
yes.
Thank you,
the
thank you.
the body was actually modeled after Ericsson's wife. So,
Oh my god, that's like
yeah.
I would be telling everyone, "Oh, by the way, that's me right there."
Yeah, I'm the body of the
Yeah.
Yeah.
mermaid.
Don't worry about the face. I'm the body.
The face is a yucko, but the body is no, I'm sorry.
Uh, 1837 was when Hans Christian Andersen's version of The Little Mermaid came out. And to anybody listening, if you have not read it, you should. It's so good. I had a
Yes.
story book. It was like this fairy tale time by Jane Curras, and it was closer to this version, which was like another reason why I was obsessed with it. So like I don't know what that says with me about me as a child, but
I mean, we all know that we're all fucked up in
Yeah.
different and unique ways, and this is yours.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So this is a kind of summary of what happened in that story. So
spoilers.
the Sea King has 6 daughters. The youngest is a little mermaid. None of them actually have names in this story. They're just called like the Little Mermaid, the sisters, all of that kind of stuff. They were allowed to surface on their 15th birthday. And the Little Mermaid had this statue of a man in her garden that she was obsessed with. And she was
Sorry, is this the Disney movie or this is the actual story?
no, the actual
The
story. This
actual.
is
Okay,
Hans
so
Christian
far
Andersen.
there's some really good similarities. I thought you were telling like the Disney version.
No, the Disney version, they have 7 because remember the 7 seas? That's why there's 7 sisters.
Sweetheart, no, this is your thing. I did not memorize.
Do you guys want to hear the movie real quick? I'll say it word for word.
I mean, like I also love that movie, but like no, I did not lock down every detail the way that you probably have.
Anyway, so she's obsessed with everything that is human, and she loves to listen to her sisters tell the tales of when she's gone up. She has her grandma say stuff all the time about the up there and what it's like, but they all agree that down where it's wetter, that's where it's better. So they're loving it in the ocean. So she's finally 15. She's able to surface. She goes up this one night, and that's when she sees the prince. They're having his birthday on the ship. A big storm comes, and then he goes into the water. He's the only survivor because she catches him. She's like, oh my God, I can't let him die, and brings him up to the land. But he never actually sees her. He doesn't wake up in time. When he does wake up, he sees this woman from a convent, and that's who he assumes has saved her. So she goes back. She's super sad. She's all like, oh my God, I can't believe it. He doesn't know who I am, and I can't find him anymore. And then eventually the sisters are like, why are you so sad? And so she tells them what had happened. And they're like, oh, I know him. So they show her where he lives, and she like stalks him for months until
Okay.
and then
It's a bit different than the Disney version. Okay.
and then she asks her grandma about human lifespan, and she's like, yeah, they don't live for very long. Like we live for 300 years, and then we turn into sea foam, where they don't live very long, but then their souls go up even further than we can see, and they kind of live forever. And so she's like, well, how do I get that? And she goes, well, if a human falls in love with you. He will pour some of his soul into yours, and then you will be able to live out your life as a human. So she's like, okay, I need some help here, and goes to the sea witch. And the sea witch gives her a potion, and for payment, she cuts out her tongue.
Again, a little more violent than the Disney version.
Yeah.
She also tells her
going to be able to communicate very well. Obviously, your communication skills are lacking a little bit.
Basically, she won't have a voice. They were like, you have no tongue, you have no voice, you won't be able to speak.
Right.
And so she's like, okay, if it fails and he doesn't fall in love with you, by the way, you're going to die of a broken heart and you're going to turn into sea foam, and like, that's it, you're done now. And she's also like, this is going to suck and you're going to die heartbroken, just PS. And the princess is like, I'm 15, I got this.
I mean, I remember being 15. I would have done the exact same thing.
So she surfaces and she takes the potion, and she describes it like being cut in half by a blade, and passes out from the pain. She comes to, the prince is standing over her, and he brings her into the palace. But every step that she takes is like walking on sharp knives, and it's like cutting her to the bone, and she even bleeds at times as well.
It's like that Annie Lennox song, Walking on Broken Glass.
Oh. Yes, sort of. Not really.
Yes, but no.
So the prince really likes her to keep her around. He's like, you're fun. You can sleep on a cushion outside my door at nighttime.
Like a dog.
Yes. And he's also like, I like when you dance for me. And so she's like, okay, I'll dance for you. And it's excruciating.
Hurts.
Yeah. But she does it because she loves him. And he tells her one day, he's like, hey, like, I love this woman, but she's from a convent, so I'm never going to be able to marry her. But my parents want me to marry this princess. But you actually really remind me of the women from the convent. So I'm going to go meet this princess, but I'm going to marry you because, like, you know, you're close enough.
You're like my third option.
Yeah.
And the woman from the convent is the woman that he thought saved him, right?
Which is why he's so in love with her. And he goes to meet this princess, and lo and behold, it is the woman from the convent. She happened to just be there for school. And so then he's like, I have to marry her immediately, and marries her the next day. And the princess is invited to the wedding as well, and she's super sad, but she's just like dancing her blues away. And then at that night, she knows that at dawn, I'm going to be dead the next day. Her sisters come up, and they're like, hey, so we cut off all our hair, we sold it to the sea witch, and she gave us this dagger. All you have to do is stab the prince, and his blood will go on your feet, and then you can come back and be a mermaid again. And she goes in to go and do this. Oh, yeah. She's also like, by the way, dad's really sad and grandma's losing all her hair. Like, come back. So she goes to go and do this, but the prince is calling out his new wife's name. So she can't do it because she feels really bad. And so instead, she gives him a kiss and she throws herself into the sea. But as she's dying, she feels herself being lifted up into the sky by the daughters of the air, who are like, well, you did this good deed and you didn't actually end up killing him. So now you can live out 300 years doing even more good deeds, and then you can have a soul.
That's
so
nice.
It's like a sad happy ending.
Yeah, I remembered the foam part, and I thought it was kind of like what you had said, where she was like, damn, he didn't choose me. And then she just like died instantly. That's what I remember.
No. So she does get pulled up into the sky. Some versions, like the one that I had, doesn't describe it as much, but like this one obviously really got into it.
I'm still kind of bummed out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's still, but I mean, I guess she gets to get what she wanted at the end, which is a soul. So I don't know.
Yeah, but
I thought she wanted the Prince
Eric.
She wanted both.
Can't have your cake and eat it too.
No. So that was not the first tale, obviously, to be written about mermaids, and we're going to get into some of them here. But before you go to the next photo, can you guess how long ago the first drawing of a mermaid was?
I want to guess like, well, my God, I guess if we're talking about it in like ancient Roman and Greek time.
600, 700 years ago?
30,000 years ago in the Paleolithic era. Go and look now.
We have loved mermaids for a long time.
Yes.
Oh my God, those are legit. And a dolphin?
Yeah. So they obviously, we don't know the story of it because it's just cave drawings, but they've been around for a while.
The story is obvious. Yeah. They like to swim with dolphins.
They're helping the whale and the baby dolphin get
exactly
kelp or something. That I would
And
have never guessed
oh,
that
sorry, go ahead.
there would be cave. No, just like I would never have guessed that it would be this old. That's
Yeah,
wild.
I know. It was crazy when I
Yeah.
found that. So go look at the next one. Mermaids were also depicted in the Bible.
Their boobs have something going on.
This is from
This one's
a 1483 Germanic Bible.
Oh
And
my
for those
God.
listening, it's Noah's Ark. And then there is a merman, a mermaid, and a merdog
I was
swimming
gonna
around
say,
the
is that
ark.
I
a little
love the
puppy?
little murdog.
He's
I
so
know.
cute. With his little snoot.
I know. It's really cute. And like, it's just like, they're all just chilling. They're like, okay, yeah, this is normal.
Do you guys know that YouTube account that takes modern songs but turns them to like ancient or not medieval like European songs with like lutes and that kind of I'll have to find it for you, but the
Yes,
way that
please.
they're drawn, it's like it's the exact same. They all look kind of like sad with like long faces.
Yeah,
Yes,
nobody
it
was
just
happy
does.
back then.
It doesn't seem like it.
I like that there's little cats on the boat too.
Yes,
But
they still
is.
do bring in cats, even though apparently we can't have a mercat, but whatever.
Well, I mean, I guess cats, stereotypically
English.
don't like water, so it makes sense.
Oh, fair. Maybe that's why. Let's get into a little bit of the mythology and the folklore before you go to the next photo.
Oh, sorry. I'm just
Actually,
gonna
you can
send you
go.
this account really quick. Hold on.
Okay. I'm like, I can't wait.
It's just pretty funny.
Okay.
Oh,
So
okay.
pick one or the other. Like, why do you have legs and
this
a tail?
looks like it's supposed to be a costume,
right? So this is the first known story to be written about a mermaid, and this is from
proportions are
1000
distracting.
BCE. Oh yeah, it is. Her name is Atargatis.
Oh, that's a woman. Oh, honey.
Yeah.
I just
for those
think the
listening,
arms
just
are
go
longer than the legs.
Yeah, it's literally like her knees are jetting out of her pelvis, and then she has a tail. So for those listening, just go and
No
Wikipedia.
thighs.
Just go Wikipedia Atargatis. She is the goddess of fertility, and she's thought to be the mother of all mermaids.
If you cover her legs with your fingers, her proportions are awesome, and her hips are like fucking banging. But the legs, then it's like she has toddler legs coming out of her vagina.
I mean, I don't know.
They did her dirty, basically.
I don't know who paid this person to draw this, but like they need their money back.
Yeah, if she commissioned this and she saw it, like it's like those that trend that's going around right now where it's like couples will paint each other.
I love that.
And the women most times are just like doing these like semi pro portraits.
I don't know. And then
wow. So if my boyfriend drew this of me, I'd immediately break up
straight
with
to
him.
jail.
Like straight to jail.
This is how you think of my legs?
Yeah. So a tale as old as time, she, a goddess, falls in love with a human shepherd who later dies because he cannot survive their lovemaking. She gives birth to a daughter.
Wait. What do you mean he can't survive?
Because he's a human and she's a god.
So she like death by snoo?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is before she was a mermaid too. She was like just had regular body parts.
So
the
she
god,
had these legs.
she has all this grief. She gives birth to their child, and then she throws herself into the water to end her life. And the gods, however, are like, no, girl, you're way too beautiful. You're not allowed to die yet. And so they transform her into a mermaid, and she's forced to live out the rest of her life at sea. Worship of Atargatis actually dates back to 333 BCE, and she has been found on coins. Not looking like this, though. She looks more like a normal mermaid, but yeah, she's been
okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to like yuck someone's yum standards of beauty. Just this is like a little bit the knees. Sorry, the lack of knees I find just very concerning.
It's like it starts at the knee. There is a knee there on one of the legs. It's just I don't understand why.
I do see a knee.
A knee. There's one knee.
Honey, we're going to give you half of a knee, and that's it. Her tail is gorgeous, though.
It is.
The tail is beautiful.
So next we have from Greek mythology, Glaucus. And
Ooh.
he was a normal, everyday fisherman before becoming a prophetic sea god. This happened after he ate a specific herb that was used to bring fish back to life. When he ate it, he turned into a half fish, half human immortal being. And he
Huh.
wasn't exactly thrilled by this and had a hard time adjusting to it. However, he eventually honed in his prophetic skills and gave into fate when he was taken in by the son and daughter of Uranus, who are known to be part of the sea. Glaucus was known to help those lost at sea, and he also empathized with those and their struggles from his fisherman days, and so he would help them during storms to keep them safe.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Next.
he is jacked.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
he is. You can
You
see
know
him
what?
frolicking with some people there, and he was
He
always like telling his tales and
he
prophecies.
kind of looks like I don't even King Triton, right?
That's who we're getting
Yeah.
to next.
Oh,
Actually.
Ooh.
So next is Triton. This is the fountain in Rome. He is also from Greek mythology, but he wasn't always described as such a great guy. Sometimes he was described as mighty, sometimes he was described as dreadful.
Oh.
He's the son of Poseidon and Amphitrite. Amphitrite, I think. I don't know.
I mean, some of those names are really tough to say.
It's
Yeah.
Greek.
It's all Greek to
it's
me.
all Greek to me. So there are many stories of him fighting with other gods and humans, as well as helping them. And depending on the day you caught him on, sometimes he would create storms with his conch that he wore around his neck, and sometimes he would help others by, controlling the waves and stopping storms. Sometimes he was also said to have a trident, which I think is why, like, the Little Mermaid has the dad Triton with the trident. So yeah, that's kind
And
of what he
Aquaman
was like.
too.
Yes, Aquaman as well. So don't go to the next one yet.
Okay, I won't.
So this next one.
This statue is very cool though.
It is.
I have
Yeah.
only been to Italy one time. I know Chantel, you went to.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, Lindsay, you too, didn't you?
I have never been to Italy. It's on the
So,
list.
man, like the amount of statues though, you like turn a corner and they have
Oh,
a
yeah.
beautiful statue. I don't even know where this is in Rome. Maybe I walked past it. I don't know, but
Probably
just
did.
my God, their statue game is 10 out of 10.
On point.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
they're all so muscular.
And like, yeah, the beautiful fountains.
And just huge. And like, yeah, like, I mean, this one here, I think has fish, right? Coming out the bottom.
Yeah.
Some have horses or lions and they're all spitting water. It's cool.
Yeah. There's like entire gardens you can go to that are just statues there as well.
Okay. Next girls trip after the McDonald's girls trip where we go over the world.
So this next one that don't go to yet is from European folklore. And it's a tale of a woman named Melusine. She has been described two ways, either as having the bottom of a serpent or of a fish. And she has also sometimes been recounted as having two tails. Now, can you think of another famous two-tailed mermaid?
Yes.
Yeah, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
The Starbucks logo.
Yes, so that is who Melusine is. So you can go to the next one there.
Oh, cool.
So she is the child of a human and a water fairy. Her mother, Priscina, had met her father in the woods one day and they got married. But when they did, she informed him that when I give birth, you're not allowed to come into the room. Now, on the day of course, he was so overcome with joy about his triplets that he ran into the room, and Priscina's like, the fuck? And takes her children and goes and lives on a hidden island.
Okay, I feel like you have every right to say who you want in the delivery room, but it sounds like a little bit of an overreaction.
Yes.
So Priscina would later tell the story to her children of their father. And while two of them were kind of like, yeah, like I can see how that happened, Melusine was like, no, screw this man. How dare he? We like would have had this lovely life with him and now we can't. So she convinced her sisters to help her entomb her father into a cave. When Priscina heard what they did, she got so angry that she cursed her children, Melusine being the worst, and she cursed her to have a tail 1 day a week. When Melusine later meets her future husband, who apparently was distraught because he had just accidentally killed his uncle, she promises to help him come up with a good story and says that you'll have many riches if you marry or if you like stay with me. So he eventually wants to marry her and she goes, okay, awesome. But 1 day a week, you have to leave me in like alone completely all day long. And so for a long time, he does this. They have up to 10 children together. So like he did keep his word for a very long time. Some of the children were born with deformities, but one day curiosity took over because he also thought that she was cheating on him. So he peeked into the keyhole of her private chambers and saw her transformation. He kept it to himself for a long time until one of their children burnt down a church. And then he called her out for being a serpent demon. And he thought that, like, you're obviously influencing our children as well. And that's why our child burnt down a church.
There's so much drama in these tales, man. Like, she's like, oh, and by the way, I killed my uncle. Like,
come on. Like, people can't make mistakes, dude.
No,
only you.
Never. So she then flung herself into the water and swam into the river, and she would visit her children every once in a while, but she became a bad omen, and they said that every time that she would visit, there was some sort of death that would happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like we all need some group therapy here. There's a lot going on, a lot to unpack.
Yeah, a lot to unpack with this family situation.
So next, we have a Cornish folk tale from Zenner, which is in the UK, and it's called The Mermaid of Zenner.
It's a beautiful painting too.
It is. If you go to the church there, it's called Saint Sinar's Church. There is an old bench there that's about 600 years old that has a mermaid on it, actually. And so in 1873, Willem Botrel recorded a story that's said to predate even the age of the bench. Like, it's just this tale that's been around for a while, but then he actually recorded it. So there was this woman who was always very richly dressed. She would enchant those at the church with her beauty and singing. She would come infrequently over the years and never seemed to really age. One day, the woman became very interested in a young man there, and he followed her when she left that day, and neither of them were ever seen again. Until a few years later, when a ship had let down its anchor, it landed on the door of the mermaid. She rose frantically, saying that I cannot reach my children. Please lift it. And the men were like, mermaid, bad omen. Let's get out of here. And so they quickly left. But you never hear of the man again. So
is he okay?
We don't know.
Oh.
So
yikes.
The next one is called a bear, which is part of Malaysian mythology. These ones are demonesses, and they are called either swamp fairies or swamp sirens. And
just the word swamp just right away makes it sound not as good.
No. She is known to have female servants and resides in marshes and wetlands. And when someone gets too close, predominantly men, she entraps them in reeds and then devours her victims.
You know what? Wow. It's kind of like Shrek, but hotter.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I also thought of Swamp Thing too. Kind of reminds me of that,
Swamp. So looking at this painting, she has like these, so are those tree limbs coming out of her head?
Yeah, this is just like an artist rendition that I found that was really cool. There wasn't much to say of actually what they looked like, except for the fact that they weren't like proper what you'd think of mermaids with tails. They were more so just like creatures that lived in the swamp, but they're swamp fairies, swamp sirens. That's what they're depicted as.
I mean, she has like some flowers kind of in her hair, like in a necklace. So it looks kind of like more like a nature
things growing off her.
And have you guys ever watched the Mighty Boosh?
Yes.
Okay.
Old Greg.
You know Old Greg? That's
Old Greg's
Old Greg
sister.
is a swamp thing. It's a swamp siren.
So Noel Felding is his name?
Felding, yeah.
Yeah, so he is on the Great British Baking Show.
Oh,
really?
I love him. Actually, Steph and I talk about him all the time.
Yeah, you guys are.
We're always.
I've seen like the Old Greg, whatever, and then was it her? I think it was Steph that got us to watch that one where it's like a fever dream. Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's all a fever dream. So which one are you referring to?
there's like a green blob and a blue circle, and they're all just like acting crazy. Yes, I love that one. Of course, that one.
Yeah.
He's very talented
and different, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so next we have one that's kind of similar. It's called the Noken, and they are from German mythology and
Oh,
folklore.
spooky.
Yes. They're also come by many names. You might hear Nixie, Nix, Snoke, Niker, depending on if it's English, Norwegian, Finnish, Icelandic, Danish, German, all of that.
Lord.
So depending on whether it's male or female, it's a little bit different. So the male forms were known to be more of shapeshifters that were water spirits, and they would live in the water and would either lure women and children to their deaths through song and violin, or they would shapeshift into a horse known as a brook horse, and if you rode it, they would ride you right into the water and drown you.
That sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
That horse one.
I don't know where you would have heard it from, but definitely when I saw the picture and was reading Brook Horse, I was like, I recognize this from something.
You know what?
You know
what it was? It was from And That's Why We Drink. M did some kind of I mean, maybe they're not even related, but M did some kind of a story. Obviously it's like a myth thing. And then they were saying that there is like this spirit, this ghost, something about a horse into water, disappears, will drown you. So
maybe it
I
is.
mean, but I can't even recall what episode that was, but just, yeah, that part sounds familiar. This photo is like haunting.
Isn't it? It's really cool.
Yes.
I found it on DeviantArt.
Cool.
I have asked the artist if we can use it. I'm not sure yet, though. They haven't responded back to me.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So that's what the male forms do. They're also said to be an omen for tragedy. So the Enokin would scream at a specific part in a lake or river, and normally something terrible would happen later at that specific spot. So, kind of creepy.
Very creepy.
The female versions were normally your more mermaidish type look with half fish, half human. And they would lure men and children into the water through song.
Leave the kids out of it.
I know.
I know. This is
take the men, fine, but like leave the kids.
If they were to shapeshift into humans, you could always tell that they were Nokins because the hems of their clothing would continuously be wet, even when they were on like completely dry land and away from water.
But that's also us in the early 2000s because our pants were always too long. So how do you explain that?
Okay. Next, we have the Rusalka, which are of Slavic folklore. They're very cool, aren't they?
Yeah, but I don't like it.
The picture is just like this.
I feel like it's jarring because of the black on white contrast.
I loved this photo. I do describe a little bit what they would say that they would look like, so I'll get into that for everybody listening. They are typically female and are malicious. While they are considered a type of mermaid/water creature, obviously you can see in this photo they have legs so that they could walk and crawl on land. They are said as having unkempt hair, unbraided hair, which in Slavic tradition meant that they were unmarried because once you're married, you always have like tight braids versus like loose braids or loose hair. The hair was normally fair, black, or green and would have a comb made of fish bones in it.
Okay. I love the fish comb of bones. That's cool.
She's kind of giving like the Grudge type of look.
Oh, yeah. Especially with those haunting eyes there.
So
or lack thereof.
It's giving me a bit of like Nightmare Before Christmas Sally.
Ooh, yeah, I can see that too.
But it also has a little bit of like an anime feel. I think it's the eyes, the crazy wide open white,
the hollow white eyes.
Now, the origins of the Rusalka is very sad. They are known to be the lost spirits of women who were murdered, typically by their husbands through drowning. They were sometimes flung themselves into the river due to an unwanted pregnancy out of wedlock, or sometimes some sort of mix of like they were murdered by their husbands, or they drowned themselves because they were in abusive relationships, or their husbands drowned them because they were married or because they were pregnant, like all kinds of different reasons. But their spirits could become free and at peace if their deaths were avenged. It's not always easy to find somebody to avenge your death, however, when they're terrified of you.
We have
I will do it. I volunteer as tribute.
Yes, we're the new Avengers.
I'm a girl's girl, so I got her back. I'm gonna kill her husband for sure.
Things changed and morphed with their stories over time. Originally, they were actually linked with fertility and in a little bit of a better light. They were said to come out at springtime and give moisture to the fields to help the crops grow. And until 1930, Slavic tradition would celebrate Rusalki Week in early June. This was the most dangerous time because the Rusalka would come out on land and dance. And if you were forbidden from swimming. And if you happened to run into them dancing, they would make you dance with them until they died. And then after Rusalka week, they would bury their unclean dead near the water to appease the Rusalka and protect their crops.
Man, folklore is just so interesting.
Yeah.
In the 19th century, that's when stories started to change, and they would become more associated with unclean spirits, though. They would lure and seduce young men with either their looks or voice and tangle them in their hair, drowning them. If the men tried to climb up to safety, the Rusalka's bodies would become slippery so they couldn't actually grab onto them.
Okay, turn that into a horror movie.
Yeah,
right
I'm just
now.
gonna say there's so many horror movie opportunities here. Like any producers listening to this podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
Which I'm sure there's
note.
hundreds.
Maybe there's some sort of Russian movie. So Vadim was telling me that his when he couldn't remember what his mermaid story was in Russian. And when I was doing my research, I was like, oh, do you recognize Rusalka? And he was like, oh yeah, that's what it was. So there's some.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Russian, there's also an expression that translates to walks like a Rusalka, meaning a woman having unkept hair. They were also known in northern Russia to be ugly and would ambush men. In some stories, they would even tickle them to death.
So do you want like death by tickling? Do you want to dance till you're dead? Like there's so many options.
We give you options. Next, we have Yara. This is from Brazilian mythology, and she is said to live in the Amazon River. There's a reason why she's angry.
She pissed.
Over the years, the story of Yara actually evolved. Originally, in the 16th to 17th century, the story was of a merman named Aipapi Yara.
Sorry, just like merman. Merman. Every time.
I have the black lung pup. He would catch fishermen and bring them down to the bottom of the river to feast on them. In the 18th century, it morphed into Yara, and her story is also a sad one. She was an indigenous woman who had a knack for warfare and gained the respect of her tribe and her father, making her brothers very jealous. They decided to murder her in the night, and while defending herself, she accidentally killed her brothers. Her father came in.
Hold on. You're not accidentally killing someone. You are defending your life, like you just said.
Yeah.
But it's still an accident.
Either way, it was an accident.
She didn't intend to kill them. You're just
Well, yeah, because she's having a great dream, being like, "Man, I'm such a cool badass," and her brothers are like,
and then she
"Not
had
on
to
my
protect
watch."
Herself.
Yeah. Oh, I just hate this kind of shit.
So her father walks in and finds them all dead, and she ran away. But he sent his men after her, and she was captured, and they later drowned her in the river.
Oh my god!
She was
Dad,
eventually
do better.
I know, but he didn't know. He's like, she just killed her brothers. She was saved by a fish during the full moon, where she turned into a mermaid. Yara then takes out her revenge on all men, seducing and drowning them. If one were to survive, they were said to go crazy. But since she's now immortal, she's also condemned to live out her life in loneliness as she outlives everybody.
So no one wins.
No one wins. So let's go to Japan, because of course they're weird.
I had a feeling just based on the face of
I love the little otter in this picture.
Oh, no.
Is that what it is?
No.
Oh,
wait.
We're on the wrong
photo.
Oh, Lindsay, you have to refresh.
I have to refresh.
Yes.
I was like, otter? What are you looking at?
You will. Actually, that's coming.
Oh, okay. But this one looks really, it's like alien.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of looks like Pennywise the clown in the face.
So this is called.
This makes more sense.
Yeah, there we go. Lindsay's like, oh, now I'm on track.
But I was like, they like otters?
So this is called a ninyo, and it literally means human fish in English. And they are found in literature as far back as the 7th century and are known to be bad omens, in case you couldn't get it from what they look like. This is in Japan, yeah. They are a far cry from the beautiful mermaids that we think of. And this picture is done by Vincent Cavallio on DeviantArt website. He has given us permission to put it into our
oh, that's so nice.
Yes, into our video and on our blog and everything. So everybody will be able to see it, because this was my favorite photo that I found of her.
I haven't seen anything like this.
No, yes. I just gotta learn how to draw real quick.
Yeah.
It's like nothing that I've ever seen.
No.
Ever.
It's gorgeous.
Wow.
So they are mostly fish with a head that resembles a face of a human. They are said to have horns, red bellies, and true eyes on the side of their head.
Oh my God, I see it
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Yes. So the false eyes are actually used at nighttime to help them hunt. It's like some sort of like sonar type thingy, but they can be up to 10.5 meters, which is 35 feet in length.
Nope. Bye.
Megan's like, I'm out. I was already scared of the water.
Well, not if I have these like 30-foot long. I don't even know how to describe them.
Humanoid fish.
It's very scary.
Yeah.
If one is caught, it will bring misfortune and storms. If one washes ashore, it will bring war or calamity.
But that's not even anyone's fault.
Okay, so I mean, I guess I'd take storms over war and calamity, but
let me think for a second. Which one do I what do I want today?
If I have to choose, you know. That's to say, like, the options are great, but
yeah. The flesh is said to be sweet, and if you
who's
eat
eating
it,
this thing?
Fishermen ate it by accident. Sometimes they were you become immortal if you eat it. And once it was
humans are just killing everything in the ocean.
They
We're
are now.
eating everything.
Once it was accidentally eaten by a fisherman's daughter, and she lived to be 800 plus years until she just decided, I don't want to do this anymore, and she buried herself below a tree. She's like, I'm good down here now. Like,
Listen,
I'm done.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
The Nino are also believed to cry tears of jewels and pearls.
I
So
feel like
that's
that's
why
in
the
a
humans
Savage
want
Garden
them.
song.
Isn't it? Pearls of
and you cry these tears of
pearls. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Wow. Okay, so they know something that we didn't know. They're really into
Wow.
Japanese mermaids.
All right.
Okay.
There we go.
We got to look into this.
Also, my God, how good is Savage Garden? Just saying.
I was
Brings me
obsessed
back.
with Savage Garden.
Did you guys see that meme where we're going to be in like the old folks' home? We're going to have like severe dementia, but then all of a sudden you're going to know that, you know, every time I see your face, just close my eyes and yeah, like that one is like locked in.
Okay, did you know?
So good.
The original tape that you got, you know how most of the times the tapes and the CDs had the lyrics in the book? Savage Garden didn't do that. And I vividly remember my mom being obsessed with the Savage Garden song and being like, I'm figuring out these lyrics. And we had it on tape. No, we literally had it on tape. And she would rewind it and be like, okay, that's what he's.
Maybe they didn't even know their own lyrics. Like, let's just not risk putting these.
They just left it to my mom to figure it out.
Well, Chantel, I'm not sure. Sorry, I meant to say Lindsay. So obviously we're big Queens of the Stone Age fans. And one of their albums had no lyrics. No, one of them had the lyrics, but I had to like print them off on paper, and I was on the bus like reading the lyrics with the song so I could memorize.
Because we were going to the concert soon. That's why.
I think that's what it was.
You had to be able to sing along.
Yeah, you had the new album, and I'm like, I haven't had a chance yet, and I was like trying to like cram.
That was
and I was like, oh my God,
that was the Villains
Vampire one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Villains tour.
Time memory. Okay, yeah. So you know. Me and your mom, it's important to know the lyrics, because how are you going to sing and dance if you're just like mumbling along?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there's always songs back when we were kids where we thought we knew the lyrics.
And we did not.
Later that
we did not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, we were singing it wrong the entire time. Refish again and then hit next.
Refish again.
Refish again.
Okay. This looks like Japanese but French.
Okay. They're really colorful.
Magandara.
Magindara. I had a girl. So this is from Filipino mythology.
Oh, neat.
Okay.
There's a girl at work who's Filipino. I had to ask her how to say it properly.
Yeah.
They're vicious.
Okay. They look kind of cute.
I mean,
they
it
do.
looks,
right?
Very deceiving.
They lure men by singing and chanting songs, causing them to become hypnotized and walk right off boats. And then they are said to sacrifice these men to water deities under the water.
I don't see anything wrong with this.
Me neither.
Yeah.
It is also said that they may pretend to be drowning to lure men into the water and then squeeze the life out of them.
Okay, that's a little bit like if someone walks off a boat, that's up to them.
And now I'm almost starting to feel bad for these men. Like every story, men are just
you know what? I'm okay.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you gotta feel a little bad. If they didn't do anything, if it wasn't their fault.
I just don't like the kids part. Like, leave the little kids out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that one I
Um,
understand.
That
this
uh,
picture is really cool though. I like how it has like coral on its back
I
and just
know. It's
all
a
kinds of like
yeah.
little things to look
Like a
at.
little like shell pipe.
Yeah. Some smoke or ink or whatever is coming out of it. It's a very cool photo.
Mhm. Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
And I apologize, refresh one more time. I don't know what the hell happened. I redid these photos and then it just decided to do whatever the hell it wanted again. So,
Rude.
Oh, this reminds me of like Moana. Am I on the right
yes, the
side?
statue. So, this next one is from New Zealand and it's the legend of Pania of the Reef. They have a
Never heard of
statue
her.
in Napier, New Zealand that you can see there. Penia fell in love with a Maori chief's son named Karitoki, and they eventually married. But each day she would have to go and live at the sea all day, and they would spend the nights together. If she didn't return to the sea, she would perish. They went on a very long time, spending only the nights together. They even had a child. But eventually, Karitoki became peeved about this because no one would believe him about his beautiful, gorgeous wife that he had. And they all just said that, like, no, you're just, even though they had a son, they were like, no,
You
you're,
didn't
you're
want to
just
invite them
crazy.
over at nighttime for like a
I
little,
guess not.
Like
wine and
dinner
cheese.
parties or anything. A little wine and cheese.
So he goes to an elder in their little community and he asks for help. And the elder believes him because he knows of the stories of these people of the sea. And he told Karitoki that if he were to feed her cooked food, she could not return to the sea.
Oh,
So,
that's kind of sad. That maybe she likes the ocean.
You
yeah,
haven't cooked her a
well,
dinner yet in your marriage?
she's doing all the cooking and cleaning at nighttime.
What else is new?
No wonder she goes back to the sea.
Right?
Gotta get a break.
That's right.
So she, while she was sleeping one night, he tries to feed her cooked food while she's asleep. She wakes up and obviously freaks the fuck out and runs to the ocean, and she gets dragged back down by her people. He is frantic and he's trying to look for her. Like, he feels so bad about what he did, but he never sees her again. It's said that
That's
if you
kind of
look deep
sad too.
into the water over the reef, you can see Pania with her outreached arms. They don't know whether she is trying to be like, what did you do to me? Or if she's like, take me back, I love you. But like,
Yeah.
anyways, they
You
never
could have
see each
just
other again.
talk to her about it.
I
Like,
know,
Yeah,
maybe
like
like
guys,
I want to
ask
eat
her
this
if she
soup.
wanted to do that.
communication is key.
Feeding someone sleeping does not work.
That's
Like,
a choking hazard, people. Do not do that.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
was she eating just like sushi this whole time? No
She must have
cooked
been, or maybe
food.
just like all day while she was, in the ocean, she would eat, maybe not on land itself. But,
Yeah. Like
anyways,
fruits and stuff.
So did the son live with the dad on land?
it doesn't seem like it. The story's very short. That's all I got, guys.
Okay.
Don't ask me any more questions.
Okay.
I have a few more questions actually. No, I'm kidding.
Next, we're going to go into some Irish folklore. So now we're going to get into the little otter.
Yes, the otter.
This is Liben, who was from 558 CE. She was the daughter of a king, and there was a giant flood in their kingdom, and everyone died except for her. She survived for 1 year underwater in a cage with her dog. And after 1 year of survival, she turned into a half woman, half salmon, and her little dog became an otter.
Okay, I love that because we do call otters like dogs.
Mhm.
They're like little water dogs.
They're little water dogs.
Half salmon.
Yeah.
Was it to scale? Like, did she become half salmon, or like a little tiny salmon size?
It does not seem like it was to scale. She just
she
had
looks
like the tail of a
proportional.
salmon. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
So she
Hmm.
would now live for up to 300 years. It seems to be a common thing. She was allowed to come and go as she pleased in the water, but was eventually found by fishermen due to her glorious singing voice. And they caught her and they baptized her, and she died soon after.
So what does that teach you?
Wow.
But her soul was taken up into heaven, where she became known as the Mermaid Saint.
I mean, that's
So-
cool, but like you baptize her and she died
Yeah.
almost immediately. So
Yeah.
I do love that her dog became an otter. That is
I
the cutest
know.
thing I've
Her dog
ever
didn't
seen.
die
know.
either. They were the only two to survive
Good.
the flood.
So it's a
Well,
good story in the
Yes.
end. There's
So
some
the next one is the Marrows.
So yeah, there's so many like long lost loves where everyone dies.
Yes.
But she's with her
dying.
love,
her
little
dog.
pup.
Yeah. This one's cool. It's kind of like a pinup
So they're
style.
called the Marrows, and they were pagan women who were run off by St. Patrick when he was trying to convert the land into Christianity. These women were very beautiful, of course, with their green scales and their green hair, and they had slightly webbed fingers and pale, pale skin. They are also sometimes said to lure men beneath the waves, and if they survived, they lived the rest of their life in this like enchanted kind of state.
The men?
The men, if the human men survive being taken down. The male marrow is said to be very ugly, which is why the female marrows look for human men.
That's funny.
The mermen.
Yeah, we're not happy with what we got.
We need something else. The mermen capture the souls of drowned sailors and keep them locked in cages underneath the sea. So the male marrows are not very nice. Either.
We're not on the same level here at all.
No.
With the men and the women. Oh my god.
And unlike other merfolk, the marrows need to wear a special cap. That's what you see on her head.
I was gonna say, I love her hat.
Yeah, it's called
like a little beret.
Yeah, it's called a Colleen Druith. I might be saying that correctly. I don't know. And that's how they breathe underwater. So if it's lost or stolen, they no longer have these powers. Kind of reminds me of Mario. Remember when Mario's hat would get stolen and then like he starts to die and he can't breathe underwater anymore?
I really need that hat.
Yeah. I mean, that sucks though, because you want to just have your abilities. You don't want it to be
like I'm part
object.
fish. What's going on here?
But then like how does the hat make that possible?
I don't know. It's magic, okay? Just go with it, Megan.
Just quiet and look at the pretty mermaid.
Yeah, like in Moana when Maui lost his hook. I don't know if you've seen Moana.
I did see Moana. I loved it.
I have to watch it.
So good.
Behind.
Oh, Megan, you need to.
I know. Well, when there's no kids in the mix, it just doesn't come up as often unless I've already seen it. So like I've seen Monsters Inc. a million times, but it's just like the new ones I don't.
So what's my excuse?
No, it was
like us.
it was not to shame. I just don't think about them.
Megan, you'll just have to come over for a movie night at my place.
As long as the kids are silent and don't say anything and don't laugh or
sing along. Or...
like I have seen Frozen on purpose.
But that means you are not allowed to make noise either.
Oh, not possible.
Yeah.
Okay,
Megan talks through movies. What are you talking about?
Hey, but in a fun, charming way.
Yes, in a fun, charming way. Sometimes.
And not all the time. I mean, we will purposely.
Sometimes she's drinking.
Yeah,
well, that's different.
Sometimes it's purposeful
to talk over.
Yes, we watch certain movies to do it. We watch certain movies to make fun of while we're doing it, and then there's certain movies where she just has a bunch of questions during.
Because I know that I can ask you. Because if I ask Damien's like, "Oh my god, just watch the movie," and you'll be like, "Oh, it's because of like this and that." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
If I'm alone, I'm still talking just in my head. I'm like, well, that makes no sense. Well, why is that happening?
Honestly, you and Vadim should just watch movies together. You guys can just talk through the whole thing. No one will answer any questions because neither of you will know.
But I'm not really asking to be answered. I'm just asking the movie. You know,
Eric would be a good person for you to watch a movie with because he usually knows all the answers.
Yeah,
and he doesn't mind.
When him and I were watching one of the Fast and Furious movies, we were like discussing like aerodynamics and how that couldn't happen and could happen. And it was great.
Amazing. Sounds like my nightmare, but okay. I'm like, can I just enjoy this, please?
Not on my watch.
Okay, I have one last one because I could honestly go on for so much longer and talk. This could be like an 18-hour podcast, but I won't do that to you guys.
What if we want it?
I mean, if you really want to, this could
be
a 24-hour podcast live,
all about mermaids. I'm so down.
So this last one is a Selkie. They are Scottish lore.
I've heard of these.
Yes.
Oh my god! You know what? There is a bakery.
Too.
There's a bakery in Sydney that my mom goes to, and it's called Selkies.
Oh,
that's
cool.
why I know the name. So it's not even
related.
related.
That makes sense. Nova Scotia, Scottish lore.
New Scotland.
It's all coming full circle. Mm-hmm. And this picture too is really cool.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
So they are shapeshifters. They're known as like merfolk, but they're not like your proper one because they turn into seals. The amount of time that they can spend as a human seems up for debate, though. Sometimes they say it's like once a week, so once every 7 days. Some say once every 7 years. So I couldn't really find like a consensus on it, but the number 7 seems to be involved a lot.
Okay.
They are condemned souls of humans or fallen angels that have been banished to live their lives as Selkies.
It's kind of sad.
I know, but also I don't know, maybe they like it. When in human form, the Selkies are exceptionally beautiful, obviously.
That's always the way it goes.
See, that's the theme. Typically, you hear of men stealing the skin of a Selkie. So you can see in this picture, they're kind of like removing their skin there. So they remove it and they live out as a human for a little bit, and the men come along and they're like, I want you as my wife, I'm gonna steal your skin. And so they steal it and then force them to go and marry these men, and they do, and they go and they live out their life, but like they're always kind of longing after their life as a Selkie. So they always want to leave. They never really want to be there. And most often in these stories, the women eventually find their skin hidden in the house somewhere and they put it back on and they just like bounce. They don't even care about the children. They're just like, we're gone. Because a lot of times they had a Selkie husband that they were torn from. Yeah.
Why are all these stories so freaking sad?
Yeah. So they go back and they're able to actually live with the person who they really loved, not the person that they were forced to be with.
Guys, if you have to force someone to
are their
marry
children
you,
going to be
like
part Selkie?
So some of them said that like their children will have some sort of deformity or webbing or something like that, but not always. Some of them just look like humans because they are like technically part human. It's like the skin that they wear instead.
So is the skin almost like a suit, but then it's like magical, so you kind of become a seal once it's
exactly. It's
zipped
like
up
this,
or whatever.
this suit that you zip up and then you're all of a sudden a seal. The men are said to be so handsome and seductive that
once the men get to look hot.
I know. The women cannot help themselves but leave their unsatisfied marriages to live with them. These are typically the wives of fishermen who are waiting for their men to come back, and they're just like tired of it. And so they go and live with these Selkies.
Well, and also if they're super handsome.
Well, exactly.
I mean,
so let's talk about some famous sightings of mermaids.
Okay, this is interesting.
In 1493, Christopher Columbus was, God knows where, because he wasn't good at maps and you can't trust that man. He said that he encountered mermaids and really didn't understand what all the fuss was about. He was like, they're actually quite ugly. Like, why are people obsessed with mermaids? Little did he know, not only was he bad at maps, but he was also bad at animals. This was the first documented encounter of manatees, actually.
I knew you were going to say manatee.
Yeah.
something about like the way their bone structure is in certain light. It looks like they have kneecaps, or what they do with kneecaps. And so it was like some sailors would think that they, anyway, that they would think that there's like human qualities. Yeah, manatees are cute.
Aren't they like the most gentle animal?
They are. And they have no natural predators. So they're just like super friendly.
Just speedboats.
Yeah.
I've heard them described as like the cows of the sea.
The sea cows.
I've never just heard them described as hot though. So I guess
but they have great personalities.
Yes.
They're really funny.
Get to know them.
Yeah.
And then the attraction will come.
Best hugs.
It
Best
grows.
hugs ever.
It grows.
Oh yeah, wasn't there something you sent me too, where they like sometimes you can't touch them, but they'll sometimes come up and like hug you if you're
they'll come up and they like try to basically contact with you. But yes, it is. I think in Florida, it's illegal to actually touch them in any way because they are now endangered because of being hit by like boats and stuff like that. So.
That's so sad. They're just like these little gentle giants, like floating around, eating grass.
Anyways.
Christopher Columbus is such an idiot, though. Guys, she's not even that hot. It's like, Mr. Columbus, that's a manatee.
Yeah. I think you need glasses. So in 1943, Japanese troops were stationed on key islands in Indonesia. They had reported seeing strange creatures, not quite looking like humans, but had human features of arms and legs. When one soldier was caught off guard in the night by the creature, it quickly went into the water and did not come up again. The natives of the island called them orang ikan, which translates to human fish. And they said that sometimes they would occasionally catch them in the nets. They would let the soldiers know if they caught one again. So it happened, and they summoned the sergeant, Mr. Horiba, and he went into the tent and was horrified by what he saw. He said it was about 150 centimeters long, had pink salmon-colored skin, hair to its shoulders, a wide, lipless mouth like a carp, sharp teeth, a low, short nose, spine-like protrusions from its neck, webbed fingers and toes that were covered in algae, and it stunk really bad. Mr. Horiba
doesn't sound good.
It does not sound like what you would think of as a mermaid.
No.
Mr. Horiba returned to Japan, and he urged zoologists to go out there and like look for these things, but no one took him seriously. So that's kind of where that ended.
Yeah, I'm good with not seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And lastly, in Israel, for a long time, mermaids have been held in high regards. In Jewish folklore, there is a reference to mermaids in the Babylonian Talmud, and it has a wide range of teachings, including the Serena and Siren that inhabit bodies of water and have beautiful voices. There have been many sightings over the years, but there was an increase of these sightings in 2009. All the sightings came from independent sources and eyewitnesses, but they all said the same thing. They said it looked like a little girl that was half dolphin. It happened so much that the government offered a $1 million reward to anybody that could capture a picture of the mermaid.
What?
Yeah.
I've never heard half dolphin. Like, we've been through how many centuries of mermaids? We have heard salmon. We've heard otter.
Obviously,
yeah,
fish.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So it was, they actually offered the reward. The government kind of looked at it this way. They were like, either somebody will actually get it and we will have gotten so much tourism from this that the $1 million will be nothing, or like it's never going to happen and we're just going to make money off of tourism. So
I was going to say, like, either way, the government's going to be like, oh, the mermaid sighting, and people are going to be wanting to go and check it out just to see, kind of like a Loch Ness, you know?
Exactly. So that's it. So take what
That's
you want
it.
from
You've
that.
given us so much.
What do you guys want to believe? There's obviously been a lot of mythology and folklore that's happened for so long that I'm just kind of like, I have to believe that there has to be something.
It is crazy that all around the world that this is part of folklore. So
and like, you know, so many kind of times, you know, places that wouldn't have been able to talk to one another to tell, but like same type of stories or kinds of stories that were happening in all these different, I don't know. I found it so fascinating. Like I said, I went down like 1,000 rabbit. Like, I already thought I knew a lot about mermaids and sirens when I was like, I know nothing about mermaids and sirens.
And this is probably like tip of the iceberg. I bet you're going to bring us more mermaid and siren stuff later on.
Oh, there will be more things.
Part of me wants to almost take down all the different characteristics and make like this crazy Venn diagram of like, what are these tales sharing? Because some are about that whole like two lives, like one on land, one in sea. Then there's the singing and the good voice. Some are ugly, some are beautiful. There's just so many little things, and there's a lot that are shared, but not all. I don't know. It's very, very interesting. It's a lot more than I thought.
Yeah. And some are doing good and some are doing harm, and there seems to be a lot of like fertility that's related to all of them, whether it's like fertile lands will come, or they're like the goddess of fertility that was Atrahasis, like,
or whether or not you kill them or don't, you're going to have death and murder and war. It's like, like that one, what was the one that you have to, the Japanese one, or if you like
Niño.
Yeah, or if you eat the flesh by accident, how do you accidentally eat this thing? It looks like, I don't know. But just, it's very, very interesting. I love it. And the more
great job.
The more fountains too, the better. So
yes. And obviously mermaids are found everywhere, even in like fountains and things like that as well. And like I said, Triton specifically is found in a lot of different places in different forms on fountains, especially around Europe.
Isn't there a Little Mermaid fountain, or statue in Central Park? Didn't we go see that in New York?
We saw the Ugly Duckling.
No, that's in Boston.
Boston.
No,
Ugly Duckling was in New York. There's a picture of me sitting on Hans Christian Andersen's lap reading the book, and their ducks are around.
So that
but the ducklings are definitely in Boston.
Oh, that as well. Yes, they're there too.
In New York, there's Alice in Wonderland that I remember. Remember the Mad Hatter, and there was kids everywhere climbing on top of it. I don't recall seeing a mermaid, but then again, I mean, mermaids are just like clearly.
It's a Hans Christian Andersen statue, and there is a duck, so that's why we're getting confused.
Yes, okay.
So
I was like, I know I was sitting on his lap and he was reading me a story.
Yeah, so it's not a mermaid statue, but it is Hans Christian Andersen statue.
Man, this is very, very cool. Lots of really cool art.
Yes, the art around it was amazing. I'm hoping I can include most of them in the video, in this video. There's like some of them I need
website.
to get permission from still. Some of them are so old that I can just use them because obviously they're like over 150 years old. So
but yeah, you've hit like almost every single culture here. It's wild.
I tried to get a wide range of different cultures from different areas. There's still so many more. So
well, I was entertained and curious and frightened and horny the whole time.
Perfect. That's how I wanted to leave you.
Great job, Chantel.
Excellent job.
Oh, and now Jessica makes a visit.
Yeah, we have Jessica.
Okay. Well, that was awesome. So I'm gonna go download some mermaid books now because I'm like super like feeling creative. I want to like hear some tales.
I did get actually some of my information from a really, really cool book. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it had so much information on mermaids and sirens and like the tales and like how they've evolved over time and everything. It was really good. And I found some other ones online too. Most of my information came from a mix of like Wikipedia and like mythology and folklore sites or Britannica as well. So
awesome.
There's endless amounts of information out there on this.
Well, I loved it. Great job.
Thanks. Okay, well, we will see you next week, and I love you all. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for listening today. We loved having you. If you liked the episode, share with your friends, family, or anyone who would enjoy it. Also, take a minute to review the Coast Files podcast on Apple Podcasts or YouTube. Leaving us a comment or like really helps. You can email us at coastfilespod@gmail.com, follow us on Instagram at coastfilespod, or visit our website at www.coastfiles.com. You can find the sources for today's episode on our website. See you next week with a new episode.